Hi, welcome to Enter the Bunker, where we launch you into thriving. Each week we talk about a different virtue that can be used as a building brick to build your own personal bunkers. We share personal stories, as well as tips and tricks to help you thrive instead of survive. So sit down, relax, and enter the bunker.
Hello, and welcome to Enter the Bunkers, Part 2, Building Brick for Forgiving. We're going to go over some benefits today for forgiving. Does that make sense? Anyways, my name's Kelly.
And I'm Jonathan.
And there's three benefits.
Three benefits.
For forgiving. For forgiving. That's such a hard thing to say. Okay, number 1, helps you heal. 2, improves other relationships. And 3, health benefits. Stress. I'm going to guess that one is a health benefit. If you forgive, you won't stress as much. We'll get into it though. Okay, number 1, helps you heal. Holding on to resentment and not forgiving someone can sour you and keep you from finding inner peace. When you are unable to forgive, your emotional wounds can't heal. Forgiveness gives you the ability to let go of the pain. Oh, that's a good line. It is important to try and move away from the anger and resentment before it begins to affect all other areas of your life.
Yep.
Yeah. I like the line where I said, forgiveness gives you the ability to help let go of the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can think of in the past, there was I had some experiences in the past with some people that just caused me a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I held on to that resentment for years.
Right.
Years, I held on to the resentment towards them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, it took a long time until I actually did forgive them for everything that happened. And the funny thing is that if you give something enough time, you begin to understand the wisdom in going through those experiences.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that helps you with healing when you understand that there are lessons to be learned and that there's a wisdom to going through certain things, because some people feel like as you're going through the journey of life, the things that you're going to experience are to prepare you for what's coming next. Right. And so, the way to be able to carry the world on your shoulders is grow bigger shoulders. Yeah. So that's the way that's what you can do, or you can just, cry and crumble under and just, say that I can't do it and then just never actually grow.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand where you hold resentments and they can be so devastating that it affects everything you do. Sometimes for some people, if it's from a personal relationship, you have trouble becoming intimate with others. If it's a business relationship, then you shy from entering into other business relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about letting, if you let go of that pain, then it clears up everything else for yourself in terms of what you do going forward.
Right.
Because honestly, it's hard to imagine. Actually, just think about this. You're sitting there holding on to all this resentment.
Yeah.
You're playing things in your mind about all the things that are going on, about rethinking the things that happened in the past and just wishing all this terrible things on them. And you do this whole exercise.
Or hating yourself.
Yeah. And you're playing these things in your mind. And you know what? Your mind thinks it's real. You play these fantasies in your mind of somebody going through suffering or all this other stuff, or you replay the past. Your mind is actually playing a movie over and over and takes it like an experience. And if you actually pay attention to your body's responding to that experience. Your heart starts racing. Your blood starts boiling. You start getting hot, and all this kind of stuff because you're angry, right? And you start to put yourself into that whole position.
Yeah.
And what's going on? You're literally you're literally doing nothing but harm to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing nothing to those people or to what happened in the past, right? What's done is done, right? So you can either forgive it and heal, or keep on opening that wound over and over again, and it just never heals.
Right. That is, you had my brain going there. I'm going to bring something up, but I'm kind of thinking it gets into number 2. But it was, we'll read number 2 actually.
Let's go to number 2.
I think it'll be better for number 2.
Okay.
So number 2, improve other relationships. Holding a grudge against someone who hurt you doesn't only affect your relationship with that person. Having that inside you can eventually seep into your other relationships. It could make you have a short temper, struggle to trust people, or have difficulty fostering new relationships. Exactly what you're just saying.
Yep.
Not being able to forgive one person or yourself will eventually affect everyone else you have a relationship with. And it isn't fair to take out those feelings on people who did nothing wrong. Forgiveness will help prevent that from happening. So what I was actually going to bring up, which I'm glad I actually waited, is you know how, like, I don't know when people do it in their lives, they must go through some sort of change or something, or they're going through something positive in their life because they're reaching out to all of the people from high school. And I guess they're not forgiving though. They're saying sorry. What? Why did my brain go there? But I guess the people have to forgive them.
If they're saying sorry, isn't that forgiving them?
But I mean, the person, I'm thinking about all the people, like, you know how some people, when they go and they reach out to all the people that they bullied, and they reach out and they say, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for this. Like, so I guess in the end that person maybe has to forgive them. But has that ever happened to you? Like, has that anybody ever reached out to you for something that's happened a long time ago and like apologize and have you forgive them?
I feel like it has.
I know a couple, it's happened to a couple of my friends.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever reached out to me. Like, I don't think, not that I can think of.
Yeah, I feel like it has in the past, and for some reason it's not coming to me at the moment.
Right.
Probably because I remember when they came. I'm thinking about just this in general. I feel like it's happened to me in the past, and when they came to me, I had already forgiven them.
Right.
So it wasn't a big deal to me, but it was like they needed to do it to forgive themselves.
Yeah. So that's where I was kind of going with this.
Yeah.
They were saying sorry, but they're doing it to forgive themselves.
Yeah.
To kind of go past, they're feeling guilty for what they've done in life and
Yeah.
they need to forgive themselves. So they're reaching out to say sorry to forgive themselves. But yeah.
But they also, I mean, in taking that action, they're also, giving you an opportunity to be able to forgive them if you haven't.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, oh, wow. Like I was, for some people, and maybe you see this in the movies, it's like, I've been waiting all my life for you to say that, sort of thing. Right. And it's just like, don't wait all your whole life for somebody to come say they're sorry for something. Right.
Not your whole life.
It just doesn't happen. That only happens in the movies.
Yeah.
But the truth is that for some people, maybe that's something that just validates the forgiveness that they probably already have.
Yeah.
But for some people, they may have not grown past that. And when you do come to them and say those things, then maybe they say they're sorry. Now, I've been on the other side of that where I went around and told people who I felt I had done transgressions against.
Right. Yeah.
And went about going around to everybody and just saying, look, when we used to be friends and then suddenly I just like stopped hanging out with you, that was a really crappy thing for me to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to let you know that because it was something that was like really pressing on me. And like, there was just like, yeah, sure. No problem, sort of thing. And then going to this ex-girlfriend that I knew a long time ago and just the way that I broke up with her was really crappy. So I had to do this, like, so I just went around to everybody that was just like heavy on my mind that I just.
Did you do this to forgive yourself?
I felt, no, I felt there was something about the idea that I had offended somebody so badly by my actions,
right?
That I needed to make reparations. Like I had to go and try to make it better, than where I'd left it, right? So it was almost like trying to bring closure.
You had already probably forgiven yourself.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't think I did. I think I was doing that as the way to be able to forgive myself because. If I didn't do anything and just forgave myself, well, then I'm just like, I know that I left them on the, like, without being able to, with any closure for themselves.
Yep.
Right.
Is that fair? Now you're feeling guilty for that too.
Yeah. So I had to take some kind of action to try to outreach and actually do something.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where I think a lot of people, that's where it takes strength. Right.
Yeah.
It takes the strength to actually reach out and actually try to make amends where amends are needed.
Because people won't always say, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
They might be like, I hated you and I still do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
but
you got to accept that.
You have to accept that.
Yeah. You're just like,
don't
okay,
dwell on it anymore.
Yeah.
You've done your piece.
Yeah. You've done what you can and just say, sorry you feel that way. best wishes
Best
for the
wishes.
future,
Yeah.
and then
And
at that point you are able to move on and forgive yourself.
Mhm.
And I think that at that point, whatever they're going through has to be left to them.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that it prevents, and in terms of like relationships, like you're talking about here, if you don't let go of these sort of things,
Yeah.
you're gonna have trouble in the future.
Yeah.
You're constantly going to be harping on taking things that have happened to you in the past and projecting them on new people
Yeah.
that have never, there's no reason you should be taking like, a bad relationship from the past and then meeting somebody new and then thrusting all that stuff from the past onto them. That's not forgiveness, actually. You still haven't forgiven them for what's
Right.
happened. So
Right.
you forgive it, move on, and then you're able to carry on a new relationship, which will be a whole new experience at that point. Because if you don't do that, you're going to project that stuff onto them. And then they're going to either feel offended by it, or they may even start to act that way because you've actually said that's your expectation.
Right.
Right.
And you could practice another building brick in all of this as well, and practice honesty, and just let that new relationship person know what your past is like and that you are working towards forgiveness. Do you know what I mean?
If you haven't forgiven yet,
Yeah, I
then
know.
you got to do that. Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. Like,
But yeah, if you could
being
be honest
with the
if you could be
person.
honest about that,
Yeah.
and then just say, this is something I'm working on. This is the building brick that
Yeah.
is not perfect in me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I still have not forgiven them. So
Yeah.
I'm,
It is-
I just wanted to let you know in advance.
Yeah.
If I start to act out a certain way, that is why.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then maybe that person will be mature enough to be able to actually say, okay, I can appreciate that. And then when they do start to see those signs, they can help remind you.
Right.
And now you could possibly have a healthy relationship, even though you haven't truly forgiven.
Right.
Right. But
Right.
it's it's hindering you. It's
Yeah.
it's a hindrance.
It is a hindrance.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to work a little harder, and yeah. All right. Let's do number 3, health benefits.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you are angry or frustrated or harbor resentment? Your stress increases, your blood pressure rises, you can't sleep, you don't feel good about yourself. I could actually probably read a list without reading off a list what would happen in this situation. Anyways, all of this is not healthy. It can lead to muscle tension, heart problems, decreased immune function, and degradation of your mental health. That's quite the list, isn't it? Forgiveness can have an overall positive impact on your emotional health, which in turn can lead to a positive impact on your physical health.
Exactly.
I kind of seen where that one was going, because stress, I swear, is like the number one killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And the thing is that there's so many things that people can latch onto that cause that.
Mhm.
Right. And the benefits in terms of like letting go and being able to forgive things is really important. Take, for example, what's going on in the world today. I mean, like
Everything.
that's one thing that I think everybody is experiencing now.
Yeah.
Right. Which there's a lot of different things depending on where you look at things, where people are in a state where they don't, they have been wronged in in one way or another.
Mhm.
Right. And they are not going to forgive what has happened. Right. So I think there is that is ultimately causing more illness in the world.
Mhm.
Right. There's
Yeah.
actually, like, because of the stress of things like lockdowns and things like being bombarded with like, oh, you're going to be killed by this virus and all this other kind of stuff. It causes a lot of stress.
Whether you're on the
Yeah.
side of thinking you're going to get killed by the virus, or you're on the side thinking you're going to get killed by the vaccine,
Yeah.
your fears are still there.
It's all fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it creates so much anxiety
Yes.
and distress
Mhm.
that your body, if you're thinking that, again, like whatever you're thinking, your mind thinks is real.
I know. When
So-
you were explaining that, I was like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah. So if you're thinking all these things and you feel your mind is experiencing it, your body is going to respond to it. It's
without
going to
you
go,
even knowing.
yeah. And so you're just going to, so if you're constantly thinking about how, you could get sick, then your body's going to go, I'm going to get sick. And so then it programs itself to do it. There's actually a book out there that's really good. It's by Dr. Campbell. Sorry, no. Dr. Lipton, I think is his name, actually.
Lipton chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, geez. I can't remember. Anyways, I remember the title of the book.
Yeah.
It's called The Biology of Belief.
Okay.
Okay. Really good book. It's a classic. So basically, he took all kinds of scientific data that has been done on biology and the impact that belief has on cells, on like living cells.
Right.
And they've actually scientifically documented how your attitude and the beliefs you carry have a huge, like not just a minor, a huge impact in your own health and in how the cells in your body are going to respond.
Okay.
So what ends up happening is that if you, because you, again, we're driven by our belief system, your body is responding to what it's told to do. So if you believe all the time that you're going to get sick,
you're going to get sick.
then your body's going to go, okay, we got to get sick.
Yeah.
Like it's just going to do it. Right.
Yeah.
And it will find ways.
Yeah.
And then, so your immune system will either just shut down and say, okay, just let it happen.
Yeah.
Or you'll end up developing cancer, or all these kinds of things can happen where it wouldn't have if you had if you actually had a belief that you are whole, you are healthy, you have everything in you to protect yourself, you know? And then you come from a place of strength now, and your belief actually propels that. And there's like all kinds of data. Like there's so much data in terms of like what scientific evidence has shown that supports this. It's just not very popular in Western medicine.
Yeah.
You know, like people think that it's just like well, if you got a problem, you got to pop a pill, you know. But the truth is that your belief has a lot to do with it. And if you even look at your relationships with people, and you see their attitudes, and you see the health problems that are almost in sync with the attitudes that they have.
Yeah.
It's clear. Like you can see that if people have a lot of anxiety in their lives, they end up being sick all the time.
Yeah.
If people have a really healthy attitude and they're happy, they're rarely sick.
Right.
You know, they almost never get sick.
Yeah.
You know? And so this all has to do with our belief systems and how we view ourselves. And so, you know, the health benefits are massive if you're able to forgive others, you know, and if you're able to and forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Because now it allows for your body, because here's the funny thing, it's like as we're going out throughout the day and we have these beliefs, what's happening is our conscious mind is giving all these commands to your body about what to do.
Yeah.
Right. And from the belief saying like, you know, you're stressed, your anxiety, you're like all these terrible things are happening to you. So then your body goes into action and like responds to that.
Yeah.
And then when you go to sleep, your body's basically spending the whole time healing all the damage you've done all day from what you were thinking, right? Because now you've turned off the brain and like you've turned off your thinking. And now the body's like, okay, like we're just going to do what we're supposed to do instead of doing what this guy was telling us, which is hurting us.
Yeah. And
so then it goes about healing, but sometimes you don't get enough sleep.
And then you don't get to heal.
And then you don't get to heal. And then it compounds the issue, right? Like I know for a fact that if I go 3 nights in a row with very little sleep, I will be sick on the 3rd day. Like I've done it so many times where I would just only get like 3 hours sleep or 5 hours sleep or something like that. And then by the 3rd day, my body is just like enough and will make me sick to knock me down.
So that you can rest. It's like you need to rest.
Yeah, because I didn't give my body an opportunity to heal, right? So that's what I understand about myself. Other people, I think, have that awareness. They know that if they do certain things, they'll start to get sick. Yeah. And if they just think about that, you should realize that it's because you're not giving your body the opportunity to heal. Because whatever it is that's actually going on in your conscious mind and your belief system and the things you're telling yourself, that's what's causing your problems. So like that's where it's coming from. And if you have a healthy attitude of forgiveness, especially, then we can get past that and you can be able to have a much healthier lifestyle.
Yeah. I completely agree. Okay, so stay tuned for next week's podcast, which will be confidence.
I'm confident I'll see you there.
Bye.
See you then.
Thank you for listening to Enter the Bunker. Make sure to follow us on Instagram where you can share your story and also look at behind the scenes of how we make our podcast. You can watch the video version of this podcast on YouTube by simply searching Enter the Bunker. Tune in next time as we launch into thriving.